Today we're going to talk about pest management. With pest management, it's never easy, but here's a couple tips that will help you manage your pests and create a good ecosystem at the same time. The three pests we have the most issues with at Curly Community Garden are leaf miner, caterpillars, and aphids. A sure sign of caterpillar damage to your leaves is big holes taken out of the leaves, just like in these rhubarb leaves here. And here's the culprit. But rhubarb's not the only plant we have that's being attacked by caterpillars. The biggest caterpillar issue for brassicas like this kale here is the white cabbage moth. It lays its eggs on brassicas and its caterpillars are green, big and ferocious. It likes to lie here on the vein of the brassicas, and it often can be quite camouflaged. We like to squish them on the leaves because leaving them there can often disincentivize future moths and caterpillars from going onto the leaves. A few weeks ago we were having a massive caterpillar problem, which is why these leaves are so decimated. But with regular care, with squishing the caterpillars, that's the only caterpillar I've been able to see here today. On brassica crops, we have huge problems with both caterpillars and aphids. Here is an example of how crazy aphids get. This is thousands and thousands and thousands of aphids just on one leaf. Aphids can reproduce so rapidly that one aphid can turn into 1 ton of aphids in one season. That's because aphids can reproduce asexually as well as sexually. So generally they reproduce asexually and then just divide and divide and divide. If the leaf had less aphids on it, I would just squish them off. But when it's just covered in them like this one, I'm just gonna rip that leaf off and put it in the green bin. What we see here is a very good sign. This is a very fat larvae from a ladybird. And what it's doing is it's eating the aphids for us. So I'm just going to leave this one here to its own devices, and it will take care of the problem for me. Often the aphid problem can be overwhelming, and the best way to get rid of them is just to spray with water. However, the best way to get rid of aphids is early intervention, and that sadly is not what we did for these Brussels sprouts. But if you do find them early and squish them early, you can sometimes control the population. Right now, I'm working on removing the leaf miner from our citrus trees. You'll be able to see leaves with leaf miner because they tend to curl up a bit. And underneath the curl, you'll see a distinctive white, shiny coating. This shiny coating is the path of the leaf miner, which is a small larvae which can eat between 2 layers of the plant leaf. You want to remove the leaves to stop the reproduction of the leaf miner and dispose of these in your green bin. Leaf miner likes to prey on the young leaves, so definitely check those ones for leaf miner. We found the best control method for leaf miner is hand picking a couple times a week, combined with every 3 weeks spraying the new leaves with eco oil. Eco oil doesn't kill any insects, but it acts as a suffocant, and when the eco oil is on the leaves, the insects cannot get inside the leaves. This is eco oil. The application rate is 5 mils per 1 litre. However, you don't need much to treat your leaf miner. We use a spray bottle. It's good to label your spray bottle with what you're going to put in it, eco oil. And you only need to make up a couple 100 mils, so maybe only put 1 mil of the eco oil in and then fill it up with water. And then all you need to do with the spray bottle is just spray that on the young leaves of the citrus, and that will help treat your leaf miner. Make sure when you choose to spray your eco oil, it's a time when the leaves are dry, so it hasn't just rained, and also there's no rain in the forecast for a few days, because the rain will just wash the eco oil away straight away.
It can be tempting to use chemical sprays, but these sprays often can be very harmful for humans and very much damage the environment, including the soils and the beneficial insects.
Even organic sprays can be very harmful for the insects, so please look into your sprays before you use them. The problem with a lot of organic sprays is that they are not target specific, which means they harm the beneficial insects just as much as they harm the pest organisms. The ideal solution is to create a garden that has a balance of predators and pests. This is by including beneficial insects into your garden, and you can attract these insects by planting flowers that flower at all times of year, and also you can research plants that those beneficial insects like particularly. Our food forest at Curly Community Garden is designed to help with that. We have flowers like nasturtium, comfrey, and calendula. In addition to planting beneficial plants like flowers to attract your beneficial insects, other companion plants that can help you deal with your pest problem are plants that are deterrents to those pests. These are the strong scented plants like rosemary, sage, thyme, and other herbs. These scents can help encourage the pests to go away because they don't like the scent of these plants, and they can also confuse the scent of the plant that they want to get. And also plants that are called trap crops. And these are plants that the pests prefer, and that means they will eat those plants in preference to your crop that you're trying to grow. We're going to try to plant landcress with brassicas because that's meant to be a good trap crop for them, and it's actually so strong that it might even kill the caterpillars when they eat it. And another trap crop is meant to be stinging nettle, which is good for aphids, and they prefer to eat that over your brassicas. It is actually important that you do keep some populations of your pests, because that means the predator insects will also be allowed to live, and they'll be able to control any pest infestations. Something else you can do to avoid the stress of pests is avoid those plants that do give you a lot of pests. We've been trying to plant a few less brassicas because we always have issues with pests with brassicas. Also, if you wait a year or two between planting something that you've had a lot of pests with, it's possible that those pests won't be in the ecosystem anymore, and you might have better luck in a couple of years. Pests are tough to manage, but it is important that you don't use any sprays. It's more important to create a balanced ecosystem. You may have some damage to your leaves, but in the long term, you will get a better ecosystem and more produce.